No doubt the biggest stumbling block when writing an essay that students face is probably writing the introduction. No doubt I have the most questions about how to go about this, and I would say that the biggest mistake that's often made is that students think that they have to fit more into the introduction than they need to. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to make the most of this paragraph. Step 1, please ensure that that opening sentence in your introduction is a strong one. And it's strong enough that the reader will read it and think, okay, I'm prepared to read the rest of the essay. Now, be careful not to be too pretentious or over the top with that opening sentence. Some people will hear, make sure your opening sentence is a strong one and then feel like they need to be Shakespeare. Sometimes a simple but strong sentence is the best approach. So for example, if your essay topic was something like this, then I would say that maybe an opening sentence could look like this. So have a read of that opening sentence. I like it. It says everything it needs to do in a simple way, in a brief way, but it is still very strong. And it's something that if I was reading the essay, I would say, well, I'd like to read the rest of this. Tip number 2, in your introduction, make sure somewhere you outline the argument you're taking. Now, depending on the nature of the question, it may not necessarily ask you to argue for something, but in this case, and in the question that we're looking at, it is asking you to argue a particular point of view. So make sure that you work out what that is, what your point of view is, and that you stick with that throughout the course of your essay. Tip number 3, in your introduction, make sure that once you've outlined your argument, that you also outline the key ideas that you're going to explore further in your essay. Now, I would say for the question, to what extent is the First World War a total war, you could probably argue 3 key ideas from that. Get away with probably 2, but I think for the most part, when you're learning how to write a historical essay, then 3 is what I call the magic number. So see where you can draw 3 key ideas from your question that you can investigate and explore much further in your essay. Tip number 4, depending on the nature of the question and what it's asking, it's a good idea to give your essay some context. And what I mean by that is that even though you're going to do some of your own research, a massive body of research has probably already been done by many, many historians. So it's probably good to refer to some of those arguments that have already been put forward. It shows the reader that you've done the required research, that you've done the required investigation, and it gives the reader also an opportunity to see that you know what you're talking about. So make sure that is something that you also take heed of. Now, all these 4 tips are a really good place to start. Just keep in mind that the introduction is very much like the blurb of a book or the trailer of a film. It will introduce characters and plot lines, but it won't give away the whole story. So make sure that your introduction is exactly that. It's just an introduction.